How to make
Deep House
in Ableton. So I come up with a simple melody on my MIDI keyboard, and then I just penciled in notes manually and added some rhythm until it sounded nice. The piano itself sounded pretty boring, so I wanted to add some background foley. Thunder and a white noise sweep worked perfect for this. I then added a kick on every downbeat just to get the vibe of the song. Now this is when it felt like the song was moving in the right direction, so I did some filter automation to help build some emotion. Now the build is so simple. All I did was I used those same notes from the previous melody and made some chords. Now Deep House is all about groove, so spend some extra time here getting that groove down in your chords. Then all I did was I added some hi-hats to my drums, a reversed reverb tail, and a small sweep to help bring in the build. So the drop is actually really simple, and what I did was I found this stock Serum preset which sounded perfect. Now by itself it didn't sound great, so I duplicated it twice, pitched each layer up to different octaves, and then processed each layer differently, panning one to the left and one to the right. And then for the chords, all I did was I used the bass notes from that same chord progression earlier, just with a few extra accent notes to help with the rhythm. Now it's starting to come together, but it was just lacking that punch that you have in Deep House, and that was because I didn't have a sub bass. Now when making sub bass, there's a sweet spot, and that sweet spot is 30 to 80 Hertz. You can check this by looking at the tallest peak on the audio spectrum, and if it's not landing in that sweet spot, you should change the key of your song. So all I did was I used the same notes as my other bass, just with a pure sine wave. Now don't judge me on these drums because they are so simple. It is just a basic kick with a couple of layered snares and a really simple hi-hat pattern. Now I felt like it sounded good, but it still wasn't up to where I wanted it to be. So I decided to add a drone and some white noise to help fill it out. Now this is just a default Serum preset that plays the root note of my song for the entire drop with some extra panning and processing. And the only thing it needed now was a couple of vocal chops that would really help emphasize that groove. I just found this tiny little section from a full vocal and used that.
If you don't give up, if you
So once you got the intro, the build, and the first drop sounding fire, you're pretty much done. So all I did was use a reference track to mark down where all of the key changes were in my song. You can do this by right-clicking in the top bar and selecting Add Locator. Then at that key moment, just experiment with taking away or adding different layers. I did this until I had my full song structure down, and then I listened through to it, listening for points that sounded empty and dull. So I wanted to fill that empty space with vocals, and I wanted to keep it interesting, so I chose to use female vocals at the start and male vocals at the end.
I just wanna know why you playing with my heart, acting.
And to finish things off, I just added some little extra elements to help transition in between parts of the song.
I just wanna know. I just wanna know why you playing with my heart, acting.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. If you have a question, leave it in the comments below. Or if you want a whole bunch of free stuff, you can visit my website at offthebeat.com.
Why you playing with my